1962.
Yeah, he cut my hair in the 70s when I was little.
Really?
Yeah, my mom told me. Yeah, I was born in '74, and he cut my hair back in the 70s. That's funny.
He's a legend.
I do.
Well, I'll let you know how those fundraiser goes.
I had one before. I bought one when I was in New York about 10 years ago from the art exchange. I never used it. I never used it, so I had it for like 5 years. I never used it, so I sold it. Now I wish I had one again.
It looks cool.
Yeah.
You get the brush and you like froth everything out. I'd like to, that'd be fun to get one. You get just a shake.
That's why I got it, yeah.
You got one?
Yeah.
Was that awesome?
Yeah, it's neat.
Chief, what do you say? Happy New Year.
Good, how are you?
Last Saturday night, Grant was on
Yeah.
Now we're going to
He's
Oh, yeah.
They're good.
Yeah.
Chips,
Yeah.
I got the.
No, we wouldn't have let her go by herself.
I've been looking at them. You can get it.
I'd be there right beside her if I had to.
You can tell them what you got, right? They have a, that's funny. They have a, Kendall Mark.
Oh yeah, I know.
Pretty cool.
Tom, how's it coming over on the boat?
Should have been here earlier. You wouldn't want
Oh,
to.
they have one inside there.
It was 4 degrees.
That looks pretty cool. It's the most heat.
Yeah.
They have everything there.
Today?
Didn't mention I walked
Downstairs.
Ah,
I got an electric razor there. That's pretty good.
well, we haven't cranked them.
Then I stopped shaving.
back on.
Work to work to work. Don't jinx it.
Just gotta go through.
Oh, it's like 32 degrees in there. Oh my God.
All right, everybody. Sorry we were a little late. I'd like to welcome everybody to 2018. Look forward to another great year. I'd like to open up the Lawrenceburg Board of Works meeting for January 2nd, 2018, with a roll call, please.
Member Paul Seymour Jr. Here. Member Alan Calloway. Police Chief Don Combs. Here. Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine.
Here.
EMS Director Bobby Mills.
Here.
City Attorney Del Weldon.
Here.
Utility Director Olin Clausen. President Kelly Milan.
Here.
And myself.
Okay, announcements. Mr. Seymour, you got anything?
Sure.
The only thing I would like to mention is over the next, I think, four or 5 days, we got extreme temperatures, and just keep an eye on everybody. Keep an eye on any elderly folks that you have living near you, or people with young children, or and your pets. Just keep an eye on everybody, and if you need any help with trying to identify anything or whatever, give us a call. No other announcements. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
So move.
And I'll second that. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion will carry. And committee reports. Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine.
I passed out the run totals for December. You should have that. I'll be in the next week or so putting together the year-end report. I got to provide that to you all and the township also. So I'll be working on that with a brief summary. So that's all I have.
Okay. Police Chief Donnie Combs.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to inform the board, we got a couple of reserve members that has moved on from our department. They got hired at different departments for full-time. We have a very good reserve program, and that's where they conjured to come down and snag them up. We have actually had 3 of them left. One was a couple years ago, which was Josh Bauer. He went to Ohio County. We wrote some letters for him as well. The other one was Austin Hastings, AJ Hastings. He went to Aurora PD. And Jason Hoffman. He is now the son of the town marshal. All of them came from our reserve program. So that's what kind of program we have. So right now we still have a quota amount of people. We're not going to go out yet to do any type of academy for the reserve yet. I'm going to wait and see where I'm at right now.
Okay.
Other than that, that's all I have.
All right. Still able to handle all the details that we have
We're
currently?
still able to handle the details. DCH is the biggest one, then Ivy
Yep.
Tech and everything else through the summer. We're still doing good on that, but if I start, getting low, then I might start going out and doing that. The thing is, we do a 40-hour pre-basic for the reserves. It takes some time. I
Yeah.
like to have a number of people
Sure.
do that. So.
Okay. EMS Director Bobby Mills.
I have nothing to report except next meeting I'll have the year-end totals.
Okay. All right. New business, you'll see we have one on here that's the 1816 contract. I'm going to ask to table that. We've got the lobbyist will be down at the first meeting in February 5th meeting. We'll be here at the open meeting, council meeting, and to talk about the upcoming session and such, and then we'll approve contracts after that. Can I get a motion to table that?
So moved.
Second is here. And all those in favor? Opposed? The motion will carry. All right, the next item, the 2018 geotechnical. I've spoken with Mr. Clark earlier today, and what we're going to do is, this is falls under professional services. We don't need to, we're not, I think in the past we've sort of asked for, we always went out and advertised for companies to submit their pricing, I guess, and then chose a company based upon that. And but we think maybe it might hamstring us a little bit from getting the better pricing on certain items. So we're going to handle this a little differently and see how it goes for the year, because professional services doesn't have to be bid out. But we will go to our 2 or 3 that we always had bid on it and ask for their 2018 pricing. And then as we have projects come up and other things that need this kind of service, we can go to their pricing to see where we can get the better pricing. So just makes a little sense. Okay, so one thing, Mr. Clark, I'd like for you to address is the remaining ash tree removal quote authorization.
Yes, tonight I'm hoping to receive authorization to advertise. I think we're all aware we still have ash trees out that we didn't get in the first phase. Parties dead at the time and didn't take out. I think we have approximately 60 trees remaining that we would take down and grind the stumps out, just like we did in the previous contract along the streets. I need authorization from this board to go ahead and put it in the newspaper to advertise.
Do we still have some 6 or 8 foot stumps up?
We've got some left, probably 4 or 5 streets on our streetscaping.
Was that over and beyond what they were supposed to do before?
That was not in the first ash tree contract. That was separate over and above.
So those stumps need to be removed or ground up and removed, right?
Correct.
But they were not part of the first contract. They were just, okay. All right. So they will.
We're going to go ahead and get them.
You going to make them part of this contract, or you just do something separate?
This one is specifically
For what's the trees, not the stumps? Okay. That's a real.
But they are slated to be removed, though.
Okay, but they're on schedule?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'd like to make a motion to move forward with staff's plan.
Okay, I'll second that. And all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion will carry as well. So let's get on that. I don't have any other new business, unless you do, Paul.
Nope.
I have no other old business either. Yes? We can. Yeah, I guess we better put this under older, okay. Under old business, going to talk about the Riverwatch lease and sale.
Yes, sir, Your Honor, thank you. I would just ask for a vote at this time to extend the terms that we discussed and extend those as an offer to the owner, and then the final sale agreement and the final lease agreement would come back before this board for approval.
Okay, and that'll be done, okay. All right. Any questions on that, Paul? All right, I entertain a motion to approve going forward with the Riverwatch lease and sale as discussed, but nothing will be finalized until we get a signed copy back from them. That will then need our signatures as well, so that'll be brought back up before this board and council, I believe. All right. All right, I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, entertain a motion to approve the claims.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion will carry. Motion to adjourn. I'll second that. All those in favor? Opposed? Lawrenceburg Playgrounds and Parks, as soon as we're seated.
Can I get you two to start on those?
Okay, I'll call the order of the Lawrenceburg Parks and Playgrounds meeting for January 2nd, 2018. Roll call, please.
Member Tony Abbott?
Here.
Member Aaron Cook?
Here.
Member Mel Davis? Member Randy Abner?
Here.
Member Paul Seymour Jr.?
Here.
City Attorney Del Weldon?
Here.
Utility Director Olin Clausen? President Kelly Malone?
Here.
And myself.
All right. Any announcements? Y'all have anything? Okay, if not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the previous meeting. So move. Second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor? Anybody in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. I have no new business listed tonight. Anybody have anything to add? Any old business? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the claims. So move. Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Utility Board. I'd like to open up the Lawrenceburg Utility Board for January 2nd, 2018. Can I get a roll call for that, please?
Member Tony Abbott?
Here.
Member Aaron Cook?
Here.
Member Mel Davis? Member Randy Abner?
Here.
Member Paul Seymour Jr.?
Here.
City Attorney Del Weldon?
Here.
Utility Director Olin Clausen?
Present.
President Kelly Malone?
Here.
And myself.
Okay. Any announcements?
I've got a few, Your Honor.
All right.
Everybody's aware we have extremely cold temperatures. We dealt with a number of calls today in the utility office for people having their pipes froze up. So we put some stuff out on social media to remind people to take necessary precautions to keep their pipes from freezing up. I believe that I saw a post on Facebook from you where you had given some young people advice on what to do about their sinks. Well, my pipes are frozen in my house and nobody's above it. It happens to us all. But we do want everybody to be aware, if you do have pipes that are freezing in your house, we are sending crews to those homes to try to thaw the meters out and do those kinds of things to try to get water flowing back in their homes. If it is on the property side, we won't be dealing with things that are on the property side for the simple fact that it could make us liable for those things.
Also, if water meters are to be turned off, we are turning them off, but we're not turning them back on unless customers come in and sign a form acknowledging that if there's a leak or something else happens, we're not responsible for that either. So, in other news, you might have noticed the crews in town that are working, the make-ready work for the fiber project is progressing nicely, even considering the weather. We are very much ahead of schedule on that. We had anticipated about 2 months. I think we're going to be done with that in less than a month total on the entire make-ready piece. So that translates in some direct savings as far as, and also in an escalated schedule. So that's all I have in the way of announcements.
All right. If no other announcements, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Committee reports.
Just more of the same, Your Honor. Just people need to take precautions with, especially if you know of people, loved ones and neighbors that are elderly. Be sure to check on them if you haven't heard from them. Just do the neighborly thing.
Okay. All right, then under new business, Mr. Clausen, water treatment plant dehumidification and HVAC.
Okay, Andy Lyons is going to be here this evening to present on this. I'm assuming he's not because of the sheer number of calls we had for frozen services. At the water treatment facility, we have a HVAC unit in place that we've been making repairs to it now for the past 2 years, trying to get it up and running, keep it going to avoid buying a new one. The estimated cost for a new one is around $75,000. So just letting everybody know, we anticipate needing to replace that unit at this time. I don't know that we can continue to operate with the system we currently have.
You want a motion to approve
just making everybody aware of it. So just making everybody aware of it.
Okay. Fiscal plan engagement letter.
A couple of years ago, the county reached out to us I should say the arm of the county that handles their sewer issues. I think it is Dearborn Regional Sewer District?
County, DCRS.
Okay. They reached out to us. Brian's been in some of those meetings. Andy and I have been to all of the meetings virtually, talking about areas in the county that have a high number of residents and no sewage available to those residents. And what's happening in those areas, we've got places like Outer Drive and Briarwood where there are approximately 320 homes that are impacted, that have such marginal septic systems that any kind of rain event or anything that, if there's excessive moisture, the people in those homes, they can't use the sanitary system that they have without impacting the neighbors. We've got places up there on both of those drives where there's standing sewage in the ditch. So when the mowing crews come through, they have a hard time mowing it because of the sewage that's standing there. And so they've got some pretty substantial issues. It also has effects on not just the county, but all the businesses really in the area, because a lot of these people, for most people, this is a person's number one investment is their home. And a lot of those people can't borrow money against their home, they can't sell their home. The homes that are for sale there can't be purchased because they can't get a clean bill of health from the health department. We have put our heads together with the county to try to solve these issues. We have made significant strides, I believe made significant strides in getting to a point now where we've got a plan in place to be able to provide sewer services to places like Outer Drive, Briarwood, areas along Scenic, areas really, if you think about it as a bowl, areas that would be all underneath the 148 to 48 loop. So below Scenic, below Lexington, below Butler, the bottom half of Upper Wilson Creek or Wilson Creek. All of these areas we have taken into consideration as areas that potentially might need or benefit from sewage. Part of that process, and through some value engineering, we also have identified 6 of our pumping plants that are currently up on the hill. So we're talking about Meyer, Lift Station 13, the one at the end of Henrietta, 3 Mile Ridge, all of these pumping plants that all require maintenance, replacement, all operational costs to keep them up and running. And to be able to consolidate those pumping plants into one major pumping plant or get rid of them entirely, which would provide better services to existing customers that we have and reduce our annual operating costs substantially in the maintenance and care of those facilities. American Structure Point, Cindy Fort has been instrumental in helping us design and go through and really revive a lot of the work that they had done previously, which was a substantial savings to the city, to the utility, in this process. What goes hand in hand in that, and Dale can speak a little bit about this as it relates to state law, is anytime that we extend sewer services now per state law to a piece of property or across a piece of property, even if we took it through eminent domain, which we're not considering doing, I'm just making a point. Everyone we cross the property, every property owner that we cross has to sign a remonstrance waiver. What that means is they agree to not remonstrate against an annexation attempt if the city decided they wanted to. So part of that process is the city would need to understand that if there were areas outside the city limits that they wanted to annex, because this is only a 10-year period of time, the remonstrants are good for 10 years, but if the city decided they wanted to annex some of these areas, what would the costs be associated with that? Not just for sewer, water, electricity, but also for the non-capital items like police, fire, rescue, those types of things. Because when you annex a piece of property, you have to provide all of those same services. There can't be a divergence between the quality or the type of services that people in the city get as to the people that you're proposing an annexation. And so it's called a fiscal plan. The fiscal plan looks at the areas in question, if there are areas at all. Maybe the city has no desire to annex, but part of the process is we develop a fiscal plan that would say if the city were interested in annexing these areas, this is what the anticipated costs would be for the city of Lawrenceburg to do that. And it also takes into the equation that take the number of acres that we have in parks and green spaces, and divide that number of acres into the number of residents that we have. We would have to maintain that same approximation out into these new areas. So it takes into consideration a lot of things that we don't stop and think about. So that agreement really is the agreement that gets in place, the firm that would review that data, provide that to council, help council understand what the implications would be if they decided to annex, just so we have a full picture. We're going to be trying to solve the sewer issues and providing those services to people, and so I think it would be probably a lost opportunity or ill-advised to not go ahead and understand what other costs might be if and when we decided to annex. I will say that there's one property development, a major corporation that is proposing 52 homes in a somewhat gated community at the bottom of Scenic that has approached the utility office to talk about having that be formally part of the city of Lawrenceburg. They see benefits in having that being part of the city of Lawrenceburg. So there's going to be people that want to become part of the city of Lawrenceburg or want to be annexed, and there's going to be people obviously that don't. But I think it's important for us to understand the costs associated with the piece of property we're interested in and the piece of property the developers are interested in us taking a look at.
What would normally be the cost associated with it, but would they give us a return on investment type of conversation too?
For developments like the one at the bottom of Scenic, they could, because they would have a known number of homes that would be built. And so they could pretty easily tell you what the tax implications would be or the monetary implications would be or benefits would be for the city on those types of things. The other pieces of property really are kind of whatever the market dictates. If a piece of property that wasn't previously adjacent to sewer or couldn't be sewered is now sewered, does it have a different value to the owners? Potentially the answer is yes. And if that now has 10 or 12 or 13 or 20 homes on it, well then obviously that has a monetary value to the city. That's all speculative, but the idea is that by putting in these sewer systems, we're going to benefit a lot of our existing customers. We're going to provide a better service to our existing customers. We're also going to open up other opportunities for other people to bring rooftops to the community, to bring people to the city of Lawrenceburg to be part of the community. This has benefits for the school district. It has benefits for the businesses in the downtown area. It has businesses not just for us, but for Greendale and Aurora as well, because we're such a small area that any kind of development is going to have benefits for any one of the three communities and the businesses that exist there.
Any other questions? So I've seen the anticipated cost is between 50 and 60,000 for the study.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Fees cannot exceed the 60 without written consent of the client. Okay. And what's the timing?
Well, the timing is going to go kind of hand in hand with the work we're doing with American Structure Point. What I'm needing for this tonight is really to move this forward to the city, to the city council, feel favorable from Utility Service Board to city council. Because this is going to have to be something that the city council is in favor of and supportive of and participates in. Because it's not just utility issues. Sure, utility is kind of spearheading or causing this to have to be done, but it's definitely going to need the advice and the support and the participation from you as council members.
So, what are you proposing? How the cost gets split up?
Right now, we're proposing the costs are utility costs because it is specific to our plan.
Oh, okay.
But I don't see a point in moving forward with something if council is opposed to it or.
Makes sense. Okay. Any other questions? We really don't have a timing yet. I mean, just hypothetically. Okay. All right. Well, you want this in the form of motion to move it forward then? All right. I'll entertain a motion to move fiscal plan engagement letter regarding annexation costs and things to council with a favorable recommendation.
So moved.
Second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, last item for you, Mr. Clausen, I believe, is board member verification form.
That's correct. In your package, you'll see a form that I filled out and had for you there as example. It is incorrect. So, it was very confusing. The attorneys drafted and sent it over to me, and I couldn't keep up, so.
They always are.
Yeah, well. So on the first line, we have three appointed members for our South Dearborn Regional Sewer District Board. One of those is the appointee of, if I understand this correctly, the mayor. The other is either myself or my appointee, my designee, so a proxy of mine. And the third would be a member of council or council's proxy. Is that correct, Del?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in the one that I sent you, the names are correct, they're just in the wrong places. Currently, we have the mayor who has a position on that board, and his designee or his appointee is Brian Mesmore. Council has got a position on there, and its designee is Andy Lyons, has been. I have a position on there, and my designee is me. So, we're getting ready to conduct some business down there on some rate work that we're doing. And we thought that just to be sure that we'd cross T's, dotted I's, that we would get this formally approved tonight on who the representatives were, who their designees were, or their proxies, before we go into that next meeting of South Dearborn Regional Sewer District to approve rates.
The way this is written is correct.
We tweaked it a little bit.
Mine is.
So we would just say, Kelly Malone, position mayor, proxy Brian Messmore, Olin Clark.
I think that is
position
correct.
Director, proxy, no
The
one.
attorney.
The last one, council, it's got Tony in it, Tony Abbott, position, council, proxy, Brian Messmore, or Andy Lyons.
Where do you see Tony Abbott at?
Well, the last page, that's what, Tony was the last guy on record, but it's all of council.
Oh.
And then the council's proxy is Andy Lyons. So those are the only differences. Aurora City Attorney sent me his records that he got from Bill Nyer.
Okay. All right, so let's go back over this so we know what we're voting on here.
Yes.
On the top one, it's member is myself. Position mayor, proxy would be Brian.
Yes.
And member Andy Lyons, position,
Member Olin Clausen, position utility director, proxy none.
that's down here.
Yeah.
What are we doing for this second one?
Member Tony Abbott, position council, proxy Andy Lyons.
Okay.
Or it could be any councilman. Tony's the last one they had on record.
And then I think that it's also wise if we, amongst the three people who will be present at meetings and voting, if the other two members, if we all reciprocate in terms of a proxy to that one person. So if I'm the only person that's there and Andy misses for whatever reason, or the council's appointee or the mayor's appointee misses, I can vote all three votes in proxy at the board meeting. And the bylaws do allow for that. So I think that as long as we identify these three people, we can craft another document that allows those three individuals to cast each other's votes if they're not present.
That's not the way political elections go, is it?
Well, you know.
I guess my question is we have all three members that work for the city, so we should be well represented, and their meetings are usually, aren't they, during the day?
10 o'clock on
10 o'clock.
Tuesday morning.
We need to be represented because there's probably a lot going on and a lot coming up, so, I mean, should be attending.
Yeah, I don't know. There might have been
These
one or two
three
meetings.
guys go to almost, if not all, everyone. I make it anytime my schedule allows me to go over, or especially if there's a hot issue, but, yeah. Tony, you're the last one on record. You still okay being the member
That's fine.
with Andy as your proxy?
That's fine.
Because he doesn't have a problem going.
Those are 3 to 4 hour meetings during the day.
Yeah,
Takes
it's
a lot of
tough for
time.
somebody, yeah, you're right. You're right.
In the noon usually.
Okay. All right, so with the changes, can I get a motion to approve? I guess we're going to push this on to council for,
We probably need to take it there too, yes.
yeah. Okay, with the changes made then, can I get a motion to move the board member verification form for the South Dearborn Regional Sewer District forward to council with a favorable recommendation?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion will carry. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, we got two items that won't appear on your agendas. They were late arriving, but they're very important, need to be discussed. We had executive session prior to this meeting to discuss these items. But if I could ask Mr. Greg Nybarger to come to the podium. Regarding I guess we'll first go off with the AEP offer and your recommendation.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, members of the board. You'll recall AEP Tanner's Creek generating facility has consumed some electricity since the time that they decommissioned. There's been some negotiations and discussions about whether AEP would pay money to LMU for the service that was consumed. And they have brought an offer to the service board to pay $10,000. I respectfully recommend that you reject that offer.
Okay, recommendation before us is to reject the current offer by AEP for the settlement. Can I get a motion?
By our math,
I'm sorry?
by our math, didn't we figure they owed us like 800,000? Is that the figure?
I think that's ballpark.
It's ballpark, but you're close.
As long as that's close, I'll make the motion to reject it.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Next item would be, looks like we got a memo of understanding for the Fisher Home Development.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. It's the Riviera, and it's a proposed memorandum of understanding with Grand Communities. Just by way of background, we previously before the board with a proposed contract, which was a final offer from Grand Communities that, in which they would pay nothing in advance costs, but they would pay some, I guess the way I would shortcut it is they would be paying for some reimbursement of infrastructure if they met certain goals. That final offer was rejected. We are now on to, under the general terms and conditions that LMU has in place, the option of having Grand Communities advance the costs to extend service or extend infrastructure to its final phase, which is Phase 4. There's a memorandum of understanding that's been proposed that is before you, in which Grand Communities would pay $65,760, which is the estimated cost to extend infrastructure to Phase 4, and if they met a goal of obtaining $328 some odd thousand within 2.5 years of occupancy, first occupancy, then they have the potential to receive reimbursement of that advance.
Okay. So your recommendations for us to go forward with this memo of understanding?
My recommendation, Mayor.
Okay. I'll need a motion then to move forward with memo of understanding with, in regards to Grand Communities. Second? Did you say?
So moved.
Tony? I'm sorry. Second?
Second.
Got 2 seconds.
All those in favor?
Everyone.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thanks, Greg.
Thanks, Greg.
Any other new business?
No, Your Honor.
Any old business?
No, sir.
If not, then I'll entertain a motion to approve the claims.
So moved.
Second?
Aye.
Aye. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. I'd like to open up the January 2nd, 2018 City Council meeting. With all rising for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Could I get a roll call, please?
Member Tony Abbott?
Here.
Member Aaron Cook?
Here.
Member Mel Davis? Member Randy Abner?
Here.
Member Paul Seymour Jr.? Police Chief Don Combs?
Here.
Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine?
Here.
EMS Director Bobby Mills?
Here.
City Attorney Del Weldon?
Here.
Utility Director Olin Clausen? Mayor Kelly Malone?
Here.
And myself.
All right. Announcements, board reports, streets, alleys, curbs, Mr. Cook.
I think my notes say no report, Mayor, unless somebody else has something.
I got something.
Yes, sir.
I know me and Tony got phone calls, garbage in one alley by the railroad tracks. It's where the alley circles around and goes in behind Popcorns and comes out by the Arch Street Park. What I was told was the railroad has been on us because we're hopping a curb and running our tires on the ties. There's a whole lot of trains going through town, a lot more than there used to be. When I count, there'll be 200 cars on one train. So,
You sit there and count that?
huh?
You sit there and count that?
Well, I ain't got nowhere else to go. Sit there waiting on them. But if we're getting this kind of pressure from the railroad, I mean, I just want them to know that we don't have a choice. The complaint is that they don't want to take their garbage out front of the house because it's the garbage cans on the front sidewalk don't look good. I agree with it. However, I don't know what we do at some point. I would like to give her an answer. We can't mess with the railroad. The only other option we got is to spend money on eliminating a couple parking spaces and redoing curb work and taking a ballard out by Popcorns to where we could get in there and do what we needed to do. But if we can't do it, we can't do it. I don't want to give them an answer. I would like to give them a little bit different letter stating how we're having problems. You know, we can't do it because of the railroad, so this is the decision that council has made. Instead of it being talked about anymore, I think we need to make decisions, and unless somebody has a problem-solving solution here.
So okay, if I can, I hadn't heard anything about this except for, I think last week I heard something from Mr. Massey about it. But you obviously got more information, maybe Tony does too.
A little bit.
So the issue is, as I know it, is that we've got, everybody gets their garbage picked up in the alley.
Nope.
No.
There's only 3 left that are holdouts that are making them pick it up in the alley. Now, when you start at Popcorns on High Street and work your way around to the railroad tracks, I guess all of them but 3 are taking it out front. And their complaint is that we don't like the other people's garbage cans out front, so we don't want to do that. So we got, I think, 3 homes that are not wanting to do it.
My garbage can goes out front at my house.
It is too.
Fine with it, guys. I just want a recorded vote and an answer.
So your suggestion is that we want everybody to comply with putting their garbage can out in the front of their house?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, is that Ballard on city property, or is it on Popcorn's property? Do you know? Popcorns. I would still like to try and figure out some way for us to pick the garbage up out of the alley. I mean, myself.
Why is that? Let me ask you that.
I just don't like it looking out, sitting out in front of the houses. There's one here on Walnut Street on the corner by the stop sign. You got 2 city garbage cans sitting there, and they're overflowing half the time. It looks dirty, it looks nasty. And if we can somehow try and figure out a way to keep it in the alley, I would like to keep it in the alley.
So what's the solution?
That's just it. I don't know the solution. I really don't.
Yeah, Mario?
We've had property damage in the alleyway because the trucks are just too large for the alley.
Yeah, I've got called about that a couple of times.
So it's a
They run
catch-22 there, right?
Yeah.
Maybe have them put it out front until we can figure something else out, maybe. Maybe not a permanent solution, but a temporary fix. 'Cause I have to go over and look at it. I don't know anything, what's going on, but.
I have not gone over and looked at it myself either, but so I don't have a solution other than put it out front.
How about we table it this week and gives everybody a chance to go right through that alley, look at it, and then we bring it back up at next meeting.
How did we do it all the years before?
We're hopping a curb and running the tires up on the tracks.
We done that forever. I thought we have a bigger garbage truck now than we had before.
They can't take the one-arm garbage truck over there because it's got dual axles on it, so they're having to run the single axles, what Brad told me. And that one there.
That's what he told me about it too.
He even told me that with that one, he can't even make the turn without getting on the tracks.
Is there any place on the curb where we're turning out and hitting the tracks? Can we shorten or lengthen the curb?
You got utility work, curb work, street work. You're probably losing 2, maybe 4 parking spaces.
You'd have to get a right-of-way on private property, too.
I thought that's our right of way. Is it on the sidewalks?
You'd be on the yard of that turn, be personal property.
You'd have to couldn't keep it on
It's pretty tight there.
Well, can we take, I mean, not do anything tonight? Let everybody take a look at the situation, see if we can come back with some kind of idea next time. If we can't, I mean, there's not much choice.
And I encourage you guys, if you want, Brad will take time out of his day to show you, because I called him and he showed me what the problem is.
Okay, well, there's one other thing I'd like to take in consideration too. I know one of those citizens there, if he has to take his out front, I don't know if he can get them big blue cans up, because his yard is a step-down yard. Can we do something for him and make it easier to get that can out the front? He's a senior citizen there, lives by himself.
Is his yard in the back a step down?
I don't know.
There's 2 yards.
I don't think it's a step down in his backyard, because that's all low right there.
Right.
The street was one
Let's
that
take a look
raised.
at it. Let's everybody take a look. Like I said, I don't think Aaron's been over there, I haven't been over there.
I ain't been over
Randy, you been over there? And let's see if we can come up with some kind of an idea. If there's an idea, way to make it work, we'll make it work, but, I would say that until then, if they want their garbage picked up, we're gonna have to get it out front. I mean, that's the only option.
The only thing, I just want to stand behind our drivers, because I don't want them taking the heat. If we're facing the railroad, and the railroad's going to come down on us, and I understand their point, we don't need to be hopping over a curb and keep running up on ties. That's why they put crossings in.
It's not good on the vehicle either, but
you hitting nothing.
it's not good on the truck either.
No, I'm sure it isn't.
But, we'll be back here in 2 weeks. Gives you enough time to take a look and come up with your own ideas, if we have any. And we'll talk about it again then.
Thank you.
Carrie, can you make sure it gets put back on the agenda? Or as an agenda item for parks and playgrounds? Or no, make it, council agenda, I meant streets, alley, and curbs. Thank you.
Motion to table.
I'm sorry. There was no motion.
We don't need one?
Not yet. We haven't got a solution. We got another. Anything else on streets, alleys, and curbs? All right, Mr. Abbott, Finance.
We're good.
Parks and Playgrounds, Mr. Seymour Jr. Fire, Randy Abner.
We had 3 firefighters that recently completed a machinery extrication course in December. Also, they're going to be had 3 participating in ice rescue class this weekend.
That's
all I have, sir.
It's a good weekend to be doing it.
I bailed out on it.
You big chicken. Before we go forward, you guys okay with maintaining your same responsibilities for next year on this? For board reports? You okay with continuing on in your same capacity?
I think Aaron and I ought to switch.
Well, you know what, I don't think you can do any more damage. I think you took all the... You're probably right. You're just kidding, right? Or you're not kidding?
I'm fine.
Okay,
I'm fine.
okay. All right, the only thing I've got is, I don't want anybody to forget that we'll be back here on 2 weeks from tonight, on a Tuesday night as well for the next meeting, because Martin Luther King Day is Monday the 15th. And just so you know, I heard through the grapevine there's not going to be a march again this year. So unless that changes, Tony Rocks is supposed to let me know if that changes, but I've heard there's not going to be. And then the other thing is, I think that's it. That's it. Any other announcements from you guys? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
So moved.
Second?
I'm scared to, but second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Committee reports, Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine.
The only thing I have, everybody should have a copy of December run totals, and then I'll have the year in review done by next week. That's all I got.
Okay. Police Chief Donnie Combs.
We were supposed to do some stop stick testing tomorrow.
Yeah?
Stop stick, we had an officer prepare, we had a car prepared, but that's been canceled due to the conditions down at the boat docks. Some icy patches down there, so we're going to extend that till January 10th, next week. It'll clear up a little bit so they can do that.
Have we changed the sign?
Change the sign tonight, everybody's been notified, so, and more verbiage on the sign, just one day only, so we don't get any calls on that, so.
I say, we had some duck hunters call.
I don't know who would go down to the boat docks and try to break this ice to go in. I can't see it.
I had to take an old guy down there today to look at that, and he didn't like the idea of shutting that down. And I just looked at him and I asked him, "Oh, so we're gonna go fishing in this kind of stuff?" I don't think so. He got real quiet.
Didn't have a comeback for that, huh?
He said, "I guess it is pretty solid out there, isn't it?"
So it's gonna be next week on the 10th, and it's just gonna be a one day. We'll make sure the sign's out there until then.
Okay.
That's all I have in there.
All righty. EMS Director Bobby Mills?
No further.
All right, sir. All right, under new business, we need to get your guys' appointments to the redevelopment commission. Currently, it is, I believe, Randy and Tony. I will take a couple names under as a motion, or?
Motion for Randy and Tony to continue.
I'll second.
Don't have to be so happy about it.
Wow.
Okay.
I appreciate that. I'm happy with my board representation.
That's not what you told me. All right. We got a motion and a second that Tony and Randy would maintain the LRC appointments. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Need a motion for who the council president's going to be.
I'll make a motion, we accept Tony.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Second?
I feel tire tracks.
Second?
Second, if I didn't do that already.
Oh, no. Wait, all in favor, I said, didn't I?
Oh, aye.
Opposed? Anybody opposed? All right, Tony, you're it, man.
I wrote last year like that.
All right, Mr. Clausen, let me see, I guess we don't need you to, I can take care of this. The South Dearborn Regional Sewer District Board appointments proxies, the verification form was sent to us with a favorable from the utility board. I entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. And as well, from the utility board, the fiscal plan engagement letter for annexation study on costs was forwarded to us by the utility board with a favorable. I'll entertain a motion to approve that.
So moved.
Second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. Any other new business from you guys? Okay, old business, Mr. Todd, Tate Street Storm Sewer change order?
That project, if you're ever put off till spring.
Oh, okay. Okay, so you want to table it?
Yes, sir.
I entertain a motion to table the Tate Street Storm Sewer change order.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Any old business from you guys?
I got a request.
Yes, sir.
I think it'll be, to the clerk treasurer, I'd like this passed along. 2017 gone by, so what I would like, and I don't know how to ask when I'm
Ask it.
say this, I know we have Umball and I know we have Reedy working, but can we get a report on what our investments did? And with changes that we've had and things that have happened to me and the different people that I have on my board over there, what I have learned, I would like to see an investment. We have committees for certain things, but I truly believe that we need to reach out to the community, and I think we need to get an investment or a financial committee that has more knowledge. I ain't never handled $100 million. I think this town is worthy of reaching out and getting some people in this town that might be able to give us some ideas and have that ability. So I want that. I don't know if I go to the mayor. I think I would go to clerk treasurer. I don't know where to go.
You're the right place, and we do already keep a record.
Okay.
Brittany's really good at keeping a spreadsheet on that. She's got the how it's been
done. Who decides where to put what interest we're making and how to move things around as it comes due?
I believe that's the duty of the clerk treasurer.
I'd really like to have a committee.
Amen.
We got a few things that aren't really. I think in 2018 we need to show the community that we're doing the best thing with the money. So if that's possible, I'd sure like to see it at least talked about and some kind of plan put in place.
I believe it's state statute, but it's definitely something.
Okay.
Maybe we can look into.
And hey, I think the world of the girls in the clerk treasurer's office over there, and I'm not trying to bring up anything. I'm just sitting here with my own experience across 50 over there, and I think we've came a long way, and I think we can do a little bit over here too.
Maybe it could be brought up as more of an financial advisement board.
Exactly.
I don't think the duty can be taken away from the clerk treasurer.
Well,
Sit on that board.
But he can sit on the board.
That's fine. And it's a comment, and it's one that I think would be worth looking into.
We had talked in the past few months as well. I think that having a committee like that would be very beneficial to the city. And we're not talking about the bond bank again. We're talking about this is for our investments on the investment side. Brittany, is that something you can get us on, like a even if we had it on a quarterly basis? Would be, I mean, because interest isn't going to change a whole lot in a month's time. But is that something you could get for us on a quarterly basis?
We could probably break it down between like interest we earn on basic checking accounts versus like best bank investments, which are more like
Exactly. And then we also have to realize, I mean, only a certain percentage of our money can be invested in certain longer-term investments, okay? There's
Certain places and certain things.
exactly, and a certain percentage.
I mean, the availability of our money, let's say if we needed $20 million.
It's liquid.
Okay, now, here's what I've learned. That $20 million being liquid and us being able to grab it don't earn as much as that $20 million that's planned by the experts that's put in there and on a 5-year plan to where you know you've got these high interest rates coming in and coming due. Every year you'll have that money available to you. So that's the kind of thing.
That's exactly right. But and just and you can talk, but go ahead. You talk. Ladies first.
I was just going to reiterate, we can actually liquidate anything at any time. There may be a slight penalty on some of those investments, but they can be liquidated if need be at any time.
But your point is well taken, Paul, because we should be having our money work for us. And how do, I don't know if it is or not. I don't know if Mr. Rainey does or not. if he knows if it's doing the utmost, the biggest, you know,
Bang for the buck.
whatever Tony down there said. But, you know, I think it's something that we really need to take a hard look at. I mean, we may be missing out on tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars a year.
So who do we ask to be on this board? Like bank presidents, like bank people like Jim Kittle?
Well, I think you know, we'll have to determine that. We'll have to determine what the makeup needs to look like and who serves on it. And it's just as an advisory, because I believe you're right, Suzanne, it's all statute. I mean, but I think we need to.
I would like to also run this by you. I mean, we ask an awful lot of people in the town, and we do pay for some of these committees, so I don't know. Sometimes these people get asked to do so much, and I think that if we're going to ask them to have a committee and meet once a month, I'd like for them to be paid for their work with us.
I think that's something we can set up, can't we? Because that's nothing statutory like redevelopment or anything like that, right?
Yeah, we could set that up, and then if there are any experts or contracts, we could run those through the committee as well.
We'll get working on that.
Right.
Yeah. Olin.
One thing that is mentioned with the committee that I think that could be valuable is when it deals with the municipal valuations for high-quality liquid assets.
Mm-hmm.
The federal government is always toying with changing the playing rules associated with that.
If it favors them.
And to do so would be a huge detriment to any community, especially our community. It affects the schools, affects how we get access to money, affects what the bond rates would be, how those loans are viewed. So having somebody that is, and people who are in the industry tend to be more up to speed on that than other people are. So having people that are involved in that and in tune with what's happening would be advantageous for us to have. If we are looking for opportunities, immediate opportunities, we do have some money that's outstanding with South Dearborn Regional Sewer District. We have 2 loans with them, I think, for close to $2 million total. Right now, I think it's just the interest only that's being paid on those notes. Maybe that's the right thing to do. Maybe a higher rate of return would be more advantageous for the city. There are a number of things that are outstanding that I think we could use some advice on. If you recall, we loaned money from the utility to the fiber utility at 4% interest for 5 years. That was an attempt to do better than we're doing in the banks and the money market. I do think there's some advantages to us in looking at ways to generate a little more revenue for the city with projects that we already have, assets we already have, and maybe using some local talent to do that. So.
We got some expectations of 2018. Anything else you guys would like to bring up? If not, can we do comments from the audience? Okay. Any advance payments for approval?
No.
Okay. If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the claims.
So moved. Second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion will carry. Need a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second? Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
Sit right next to each other.
No, I said, why is he so quiet? Aaron, he usually makes all kinds of motions.
I don't know.
It does make it easy, though.
He must have a bad day. He must have a bad day. You too. Another year. Another year.
Stay warm.
I guess there's one there, but it's not.
Are you driving?
Be careful.
Have your son thanks again.
I will.
I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, I'll tell him.
I didn't like seeing him do that.
Yeah, he was excited to do it.
I thought that was so nice.
Yeah.
What's up, Tony?
Jericho Moore used to got you something.
Yeah. They said you weren't feeling very good.